Welcome back to Turner Classic Movies. I'm Dave Karger. We are commemorating Trans Awareness Month, which is the month of November. And I'm so happy to be joined by Willow Caitlin McClay, who is the co-author of the fascinating book, Corpses, Fools, and Monsters. Hello again, Willow.
Hey, it's lovely to be here.
We just talked about Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, in which a cisgender actress, Karen Black, plays a trans character. Now in this movie, Some of My Best Friends Are, from 1971, we have Candy Darling, who was a trans performer and trans celebrity, if you will, in the Andy Warhol stable of stars, as one of the interesting characters in this film, alongside people like Fanny Flagg and Rue McClanahan and Gil Gerard. Let's talk about this movie. It takes place on Christmas Eve at a gay bar where all of these people come through. What do you find interesting about this film in general?
We just played a Robert Altman movie, and I think that it also has an Altman flair to it where we're revolving around all of these characters. We get fragments of each one of them where we get a sense for the space and who these people are based more so on the bar itself rather than any specific characterization, except for one. We do learn a lot about Candy Darling's character, Karen, because she has an internal monologue. And she's one of the only characters in this movie who does get to have that sort of grand sequence, so to speak.
Yeah, it's true. You really do feel like a fly on the wall with these characters. What do you think people should know about Candy Darling if they're not familiar with her?
Well, Candy Darling was a trans woman who came to prominence in the New York art scene in the mid to late 1960s and lived up through the first few years of the 1970s. She wanted to be an actress, but she was so out of fashion because she wanted to be like the old Hollywood stars that she grew up watching. She loved Joan Bennett and she loved Kim Novak, but she brought a sense of glamour to that New York art scene that she inhabited. Everyone thought that she was kind of taking a jab at it and being ironic, but I think that she was very sincere about her appreciation for that old style glamour. And keeping up that glamour was kind of exhausting for her. She had a lot of anxiety about it. She had a lot of anxiety about passing as a beautiful woman. And I think that we kind of understand her more as an image than as an actress. And I think that this movie kind of really underlines the fact that she could have been a great actress had she been afforded the opportunities before she tragically passed away.
And she did appear in other films, most notably Clute.
Mhm.
But in your
Mhm.
book, you write about how this was her best showcase for her acting abilities. And we'll talk specifically about some very pivotal scenes in the movie after we watch it. But in a general sense, what do you think it is about her performance here that makes it so notable?
I think it's interesting because it's the only performance of hers that taps into her own identity as a trans woman. In her previous roles, she's playing more of a caricature of the type of figure that everyone assumed her to be, or she was playing a model of femininity. In a movie like The Death of Maria Malibran, she's almost like a beautiful statue of femininity. And include it's essentially a cameo appearance as like the cool chick in a club. And in the Andy Warhol movies, there was obviously an ironic insincerity, kind of a satire of the women's liberation movement with her appearance in those movies. But I think that this is the only movie that actually asks her to be a capital A actress like she was in theater. She did a lot of theater prior to this. Famously, Tennessee Williams was a big fan, and you don't get to be an actor that Tennessee Williams is fond of if you don't have some chops. And I think that this movie really showcases why figures like him were interested in what she could bring to the table.
Oh, I think that's a great way to set this movie up. So let's watch it and then we'll talk more about it afterwards. Here is Candy Darling in 1971 in Some of My Best Friends Are. I'm back with Willow Caitlin McClay to talk a little bit more about Candy Darling and Some of My Best Friends Are. It really, I think brave is an overused word, but I do think this is a very brave performance by Candy Darling in many ways. If she was, as you said before the film, so concerned with being able to pass as a glamorous woman, what she as a character and as a performer does in this film kind of plays against that. So I think that's where the bravery comes through. How does it strike you?
It's a huge risk that she takes in this movie, the aftermath of the attack that she experiences inside the bar. And I think that the fact that it's foregrounded by this moment where she is perceived as a beautiful cis woman who will calm the fears of this hustler who attacked her because he had an internalized sense of homophobia about himself. Because he perceived her as cis, he thought that she would give him his dignity as a man, and she felt that he would give her her dignity as a woman. And I think that the scene is really amazing for all of the ways that it laces through with Candy's own persona and the way that she presented herself in real life. But then to go without her wig, to go without her makeup, to crawl out of the men's restroom, which is a loaded image still today with all of the bathroom bans and things of that sort that are happening in countries all over the world. She really took a risk of her image being disrupted going forward because she risks her womanhood in that scene, and in a way that's her risking everything. And I think that it's palpable when you watch it. It's a really difficult scene.
My understanding is that Candy Darling actually didn't like her own performance in this movie. Does that surprise you?
I think that she felt very exposed by what she was doing. In Cynthia Carr's book, on Candy's life, she said that when Candy saw the movie, she got up in an uproar during this scene and started barking back at the screen, "Beat that drag queen." So there's a lot of really complicated emotions that she obviously had with this performance, and that really just underlines the fact that she had a lot of trouble with her sense of self, her perception, when she was a trans woman in this era when no one really understood what that meant. I think that this movie is bold and brave, like you said, but that particular scene really locks into a lot of her own anxieties about how others saw her. And I think that when she saw the full totality of the risk that she took, she she was very uncomfortable with what she had actually put on screen.
Well, regardless of how she felt about her performance in this movie, it's one that I think is emotionally raw and masterfully acted. Willow Caitlin McClay, thank you so much for being here and introducing these two films with me tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, well, Willow may be done for the night, but I'll be back to introduce another movie as part of our Trans Images on Film series. This next one stars one of Candy Darling's idols, Kim Novak.
Next on TCM, Vertigo, then Funeral Parade of Roses, and later The Brood. The Kids Aren't All Right on TCM tonight.